Hello and welcome to the Man United podcast. Second attempt at a live stream, so pretty late one. Yeah, just wanted to get straight into it really. Atalanta tomorrow. Just wanted to do a quick 20-minute stream, talk about formation, talk about some of the fringe players, where Atalanta are at. Just in terms of what else some of the players are doing, some of the real fringe players, and some of the outside sort of results and talk as well. Obviously, I'm sure some people already know that Conte is now officially at Spurs, so that's seems to have kind of the ship sailed on that one. So I think that's quite good from a United point of view. I think from my point of view personally, I think if we can carry on from where we left off on Saturday at Spurs, then I think we've got a fighting chance to turn it around a little bit. Across the next 5 games, obviously we've got City next after that, and then obviously Watford, and then we move on to Arsenal after that. So we've got some big games coming up, and in my opinion, some winnable games as well. I think obviously the City game is a big game. I think the Arsenal game finishes off or moves into December, so might be wrong with that off the top of my head. But in terms of that, I think we've definitely got some winnable games. And City losing to Crystal Palace this Saturday, they're obviously going to want to bounce back to that. But they're away from home at Old Trafford. We've got a bit of a point to prove. We beat Atalanta on tomorrow, on Tuesday, and then we've turned it around. So, in terms of formation, I think he will. I don't know what he'll do, to be quite honest. Obviously, we've got no Lindelof. He's got a knock, so obviously there'll be a bit of a change at the back. Is he going to start with Bailly? Possibly. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about Bailly and the situation surrounding him in terms of his, issues with. He feels like he's not getting enough minutes. He's a bit upset with training, coming out and criticising Ollie publicly. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. But that's just what some of the reports have said in terms of where he's at. So, yeah, from my point of view, I'm not. I know there's a lot of Man United fans that I watch on YouTube and see a lot of feedback on Facebook and stuff like that, and a lot of people are massive fans of him. But personally, I think he's a little bit of a potential calamity, and I don't trust him in big games. And I think as much as I think this is a massively winnable game tomorrow. I was at the game a few weeks ago at Old Trafford against Atalanta. Unbelievable game, one of the best I've been to, and not in terms of just obviously the size of the game was a must-win game really, but to come back from 2-0 down in the situation we've been in recently, Ronaldo getting the winner, it was an unbelievable game. So yeah, I think he's got to go with something similar from Saturday. I think he's got to control the game, but as we know and as we spoke about the other day, and I know Gary Neville and Keane and Graham Souness had said after the game on Saturday that United are not capable of dictating a game. Well, yeah, against some teams we're not. I think against teams like Atalanta, you're going to create chances. You're going to have opportunities to dominate the game. So for me, I think he's got to go with something similar that he did on Saturday. Play with a 5-2-1-2 or whatever you want to call it, maybe a 3-4-1-2. Varane obviously at the back with Maguire, and Bailly comes in to make a 3. Wan-Bissaka right, Shaw left. There's been talk, he mentioned in his press conference today, that he's looking to play Pogba. Obviously, Pogba's got a red card against Liverpool, which puts him out for 3 games, which is probably a good little headache for Solskjaer, really, because it means then that he hasn't got that kind of that to and froing with selection. So obviously, he can play Pogba in the FA Cup when it comes up in a few weeks' time, and then he can play him in the Champions League now. So for me, he's got to start with Pogba. Don't know if he's going to start with Fred and McTominay. I think with McTominay having a good game on Saturday, might want to save him for the City game. Personally, I think he should just play him. If he rates him and he played well on Saturday, just play him. Play him with Pogba. Him and Pogba sitting in that deep role. And then obviously Bruno came off about, I think it was 80th minute, was it, against Spurs? Play Bruno in there in the attacking midfield role, and then obviously you've got Cavani and Ronaldo up front. Will he go with that? Will he play Martial with Ronaldo instead? Maybe give Cavani a little bit of a break. He played the full 90. And did he play the full 90? I think did he come off? I can't remember now. I think he brought him. Did he bring Rashford on for Cavani? I know Ronaldo came off about 70th minute, so maybe saving them two for the European game, and and then going with pretty much the same sort of setup. Really, I think the difficulty when you've got a formation and a setup like that is that it kind of relies upon the other team pressing and attacking, which Atalanta will do. They will do to an extent, and then we'll counter that. I think it could prove dangerous away from home, but he's soaking up that sort of level of pressure. But I think with the number of bodies back and the quality that we've got, I think we shouldn't be troubled too much. I think aerially they're pretty weak from what I saw when I went to watch them at Old Trafford. I think their only key man really is Zapata, and he's Lukaku type size. He's big, he's strong, very very big to be quite honest. And there's a lot of people probably watched the game on TV who sort of said, "Oh well, Lindelof got bullied and bodied by Zapata," but to be quite honest, the fella is massive, absolutely huge. So, I think most players in the Premier League would suffer the same fate. And look at Lukaku. I know he's had a pretty poor run in the last few weeks, and obviously he's been injured recently, but he's unplayable, like Drogba was unplayable at times. So we've got to keep him quiet. I think with three at the back, with Bailly, Varane and Maguire, the three big physical guys. Bailly and Varane offer a bit of pace as well. So I think we've got more than enough in that back three if that's what he plays to cope with it really. I think Wan-Bissaka showed some positive signs on Saturday in terms of him getting forward. Obviously that right hand side's been pretty weak in regards to us getting forward. It's obviously been United's strength over the last 15, 20 years in particular, and at the minute, especially with that system, if you're going to play quite a narrow defensive system, where then it obviously offers you a lot in midfield defensively, but it doesn't offer you much going forward. So Wan-Bissaka's got to have a lot to do in terms of getting forward and back. But if we do dominate the ball, then obviously it means he doesn't have to get back as much. And he's got to start putting those balls in, because Cavani and Ronaldo will just get on the end of anything. I mean, the goal on Saturday from Ronaldo was, really it was half a chance for most strikers in the league, but he made it look as if it was a clear cut chance. Incredible finish, and Wan-Bissaka's got to start, pummeling those balls into the box, and giving us every single opportunity. And I think if Bruno gets on the ball as well and he's given a bit of space and he starts getting a bit of confidence with his passing, he's going to find those channels, and he's going to find Cavani, he's going to find Ronaldo. So for me, that's a system he needs to play. In terms of the sort of fringe players, which I wanted to talk about really briefly, is Donny, Lingard, Sancho, Martial are the main kind of fringe players for me. Donny, I'd love to see him get a game with Pogba in that midfield instead of Fred or McTominay. Pogba, Donny. I think that's what he should play. I think if Fergie was picking the team, that's what he'd rotate. Sometimes he would trust a full. He'd keep sort of the same players playing together week in, week out, but he would rotate those players. So for me, I think he needs to be playing Donny, give him a chance, put him in the deep end and see how he gets on. With Pogba, it's definitely a must-win game, but I think he's got to start taking that pressure and trust him. Put that pressure on his shoulders and show what he's got. So yeah, Donny for me. Lingard, could Lingard come in? Could he play in that Bruno role? Give Bruno a break, ready for Saturday? I can't see it happening. I think he fears leaving someone like Bruno out, and although I do feel like Bruno's having a bit of a bad spell at the minute in terms of his form. I know he set up Ronaldo, but prior to that he's been shy a goal for something like 8 or 9 games now, despite him taking penalties. So that's not great considering where he was last season. So Yeah, definitely need to. He needs to improve for tomorrow. I think he needs to put a sort of almost a man of the match performance in. Bearing in mind that Ronaldo's pretty much stolen um, most of the headlines. So yeah, it definitely needs to. Definitely needs to happen. Really going forward, we need to see more of Bruno tomorrow. I start seeing him getting on the score sheet. I mean, I'd like to see him get a goal or two, even if he gets a penalty and he scores. It's a confidence boost, and I think he needs to start doing that really a little bit more. So getting on the ball and trying shots from distance, trying something on his own, being a bit more selfish instead of looking up and trying to find Ronaldo from distance. Obviously, if it's on, it's on. If it's not, go yourself. So yeah, I mean Lingard. I think Lingard deserves a shout. I mean he's come in, done brilliantly since being on loan from West Ham. When he's come in, he's been asked to do a job, and then he's just been left out. And again, same with Martial. Really, I mean he's done absolutely nothing wrong. He's come in, done really well. Scored a goal against Everton, then was shipped out and told and hasn't come in since. So for me, it's just a little bit odd with these fringe players, and I think it just shows that Ollie's under pressure and he's just resorting to panic button sometimes with resorting to the same sort of players and formations that he's sure of. When you get a bit of confidence and you start winning games and the confidence sort of got to flow through the rest of the squad, I think generally you just feel a little bit like you can swap and change players because everybody has that same sort of level of confidence. We were bringing Tellez in before a few weeks ago against Villarreal. He scored a goal. Next minute we play the next game and we're losing it or we're drawing it. Was it Everton game? Next game after that, but then he had that sort of overconfidence really. Then off the back of a pretty poor performance against Villarreal, where he then started dropping players that he shouldn't have dropped. Ronaldo was one of them, and then it just didn't work out. And then it was like back to square one, and he was reeling a little bit. Ollie. I mean, for me, I don't really want to talk about Ollie in, Ollie out. Obviously the Conte thing's passed. I think good. I think we need to focus on the team, focus on the squad, focus on the formation and the tactics. Because as he gets the formation and the tactics right with this team, and he turns the ship around a little bit, and he gets to the end of the season, then you can sort of review it. And I think there's definitely a cup in this team this season. I don't think it'll. Obviously it's not going to be a Champions League. I think that's a massively outside chance. But after things have happened, the squad is on paper good enough, but as a team they just haven't played consistent enough for long enough to even suggest that they could win it. But I suppose Barcelona's, Real Madrid's aren't the teams they used to be, and you never know. So yeah, a bit of an outside chance of that. In terms of Atalanta and their results recently, they've drawn. I think they've drawn the last. They've drawn one and drawn. So drawn 2, won 1 in the last 3, and the 2 draws they got was against Udinese and Sampdoria, which I think are 12th and 13th. So overall, just fairly poor, really. I mean, off the back of what they did against us, it seems to like it's knocked their confidence, and obviously they were like 4th or 5th. They might still be 5th or 6th in the league at the minute. So they're doing pretty well, but I think from Saturday's game we showed that I know Spurs are pretty poor, but we should really be sort of going into that game. Atalanta aren't a team who seem to focus too much on their defensive prowess and a little bit more of their attacking prowess, and I think United have got to exploit that. We exploited it last time, scoring 3 goals. In the second half, considering the sort of level of performances we've put in this season, showed how poor they are as a team at that level. So we need to punish it tomorrow. We need a confident win. I expect another. Ideal. I'm kind of predicting another 3-0 to be quite honest, and I think if we play well enough, it could be slightly more. Ronaldo I think is going to get a goal, maybe 2. I can see Cavani getting on the score sheet again, and I'd like to see Pogba getting up there for 1, or maybe one of the defenders. So I definitely see 3 goals in it. I'd like to see more. I think if we stick to what we did on Saturday and work hard, then the win's definitely there. And I think it's just about how many goals, and hopefully we just get a clean sheet. Another clean sheet off the back of Saturday would be good, I think, for confidence for De Gea and confidence for the defenders as well. So that definitely needs to happen. In terms of the other games, obviously Saturday's game is a big game. I think United at home against Man City is always a big game, no matter what kind of where we are in the league or how many games we are in the league or current form or anything. It's a massive game, and I think even bigger with the fact that City lost on Saturday. We won. We need another win. Seem to have sort of maybe got a slight percentage of a, kind of a turnaround there. Maybe obviously if we win tomorrow quite convincingly and the formation and the team is fairly similar, then you never know. We beat City a few times before with a similar sort of system. Never like giving City too much of the ball, and obviously they've only gained confidence and strength over the last 12 months with bringing in Grealish and obviously winning a few more things and going a little further in the Champions League and all that kind of stuff. So, they're going to be full of confidence and they're a great team, as much as it pains me to say, but definitely expect them to dominate the possession on Saturday. I think United have got to accept that, and looking at the team and looking at the formation that he played on Saturday, we've just got to accept that that's going to be the case and just try and just beat him on the counter. I think we get a goal against City. City seem to sort of crumble a little bit. They're not used to sort of having to chase a game. I think they're used to, overcoming teams. I mean, against Crystal Palace, I didn't watch the game or see many of their highlights, but they seem to when the game's at them and it's in their face, they seem to sort of dwindle a little bit. And I think we've got a chance on Saturday. We went on Saturday. Ollie's season's dramatically turned around. We beat City. City lost 2 on the bounce then in the league. United have won 2 on the bounce. He's beating City, local rivals, off the back of a massive Liverpool defeat. He's suddenly back on in terms of getting back in that top 4. I think the title race, I think everybody would agree, it's gone. But definitely have a chance to salvage, definitely salvage top 4. But obviously with West Ham playing pretty well as well, and in and around Leicester are always a troublesome. I'm sure Arsenal getting back a little bit of form. It's made top 4 a little bit more difficult to just naturally attain. So I think we've definitely got to try and win these bigger games, which I think over the years we've struggled to do. So yeah, that I think we've got a big chance considering what's happened recently, and hopefully what happens tomorrow for us, and we'll see how City get on as well in the Champions League this week. So in terms of title chances now, not just us, I mean generally title chances for everybody. I think you've got to look at it's between City and Chelsea. I mean, obviously Chelsea have just been ravaged at the minute with injuries. Mount picked up an illness. Lukaku's out, fairly long-term injury. Looks like Kovacic has got a bit of a hamstring injury or something like that until the end of the month. So it's looking like their title chances have took a little bit of a blip in the road. And the minute you can't see past Liverpool in terms of how much they're getting the job done, and that's, as a United fan, it's just frustrating to sit here and be a passenger to it. But unfortunately, that's just the case. We are kind of at the moment just having to take it on the chin and accept that the minute we're still in this bit of a transition period where we've got to just accept that is going to be the way it's going to go for the next God knows how long. But no, generally quite optimistic about tomorrow. I think we've got to look at a 3-0, 4-0, maybe even 5-0 win. I think we've got to take a clean sheet out of it. Bailly's got to state his claim, especially after him kicking off with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer last couple of weeks. He's got a big chance to show what he's made of if he thinks Lindelof's not good enough or he thinks Maguire's not fit. So he's got a massive stake to claim. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a big game for him. I think he's got to show what he can do down that right hand side when he's given the freedom, and he's got that kind of distance to run and that expanse to get up and down. Shaw's been showing that last sort of 18 months that if he's given the opportunity to cross that ball, he's going to find somebody on the end of it, and he's going to get that ball into the box. We need to get that down the right hand side, and if we've got it coming from the left and from the right, suddenly we become quite potent, especially if Cavani's in on the deep left and Ronaldo's on the deep right, or vice versa. So we've got to start being potent down that right hand side. So for me, Aaron Wan-Bissaka tomorrow has got to be potent, and he's got to be showing what he's made of going forward. Yeah, we all know how good he is going back. Fantastic again on Saturday. He pulled out, albeit it was offside, an unbelievable last-ditch tackle on Song, which if it had been onside, he would have saved as a goal. So for me, he needs to show what he's made of, start getting some crosses in the box and getting forward, linking up with maybe Bruno, linking up with maybe Pogba, definitely linking up with people like Ronaldo, but getting down there and getting those balls in. Pogba's got a big game off the back of his red card at Liverpool, massive, got to show again the fans, if he wants to be around, that it means a lot to him, and he's got a big chance now in the Champions League where Ollie could just start rotating him for the next 3 or 4 weeks, especially November, where he's just playing Champions League games. So he needs to show now that he wants to play for Man United, and that he wants to push us on in this tournament and try and win the Champions League for Man United, and that would be a massive achievement if he was to get us somewhere close to doing that. So he's got a big game. I think Scott or Fred, depending on who he plays next to him, if he's going to play that formation, if he plays Fred and Scott, then fair enough, but I think he'll start with Pogba. Either one of them two, I think they've got to bounce on from what they did on Saturday. So not massive sort of point to prove for either of them. Maguire got to be consistent. He's got to show a bit of captaincy, a bit of leadership. It's massively under the spotlight at the minute. Obviously, I think he's been rushed back into games where he's not been mentally fit. He's quite a mentally tuned in sort of player, and if he's not feeling that, then he doesn't seem to play that well. And I think he's just been thrown in at the deep end. Seems to on Saturday got through it. I think Varane helped him out massively. There's a couple of occasions where he got well out of place, and Varane just nipped in behind him and covered up for him, and Maguire fits into his position. So with them two working together is key, and we need to see another clean sheet. Shaw's just got to find a bit of form. I think he's been off form last couple of weeks. Sort of getting back on it on Saturday, but again, not 100%. Made a few last-ditch tackles, out of position, got a yellow card early in the game on Saturday. So he needs to really sort of bite back and show what he's capable of, and that's obviously ghosting past players, overlaps, getting balls in the box, and when he does that, often we score goals. So we need to be doing that more and more often, and obviously have another good, confident building game against Atalanta tomorrow. In regards to Bruno, massive. I think out of everybody, I think he's got a massive point to prove tomorrow. Bruno's got a big point to prove. I think he needs to knuckle down. Obviously, he play his game, but I think he's got to try a few things and try and be man of the match tomorrow. For me, I think he's got to be the one coming off that pitch he's created a goal, he scored 2, and he's got the man of the match award. It's big for him tomorrow. I think just for his own confidence, leading into the City game, which often he's played really, really well in games like that against City. So I think for me, he really needs to kind of show what he's worth tomorrow and have a really good game. I think for Cavani or Ronaldo, if them two are going to play up top, I think it's just business as usual. I think you could be looking at a partnership, not up there with like York and Coley, but I think for them two, it's just getting that harmony, getting that understanding, and if I think one of them will score tomorrow, if not both of them. So. Yeah, overall, I think it's a must-win game, but I think it's very, 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 very capable of doing that. I think we could quite easily score, like I said before, 3 goals, 4 goals, even 5. So I think it's a pretty straightforward win for United, as long as we stick to what we've been doing or did on Saturday, and what it looks like he's going to be playing going forward, and stop overthinking it. Just play the players in their position. Except that we're not going to dominate the ball because we haven't got a midfielder who can do that, and we should be all right. So, yeah. So thanks if you've been watching. If you want to get involved next time, add a comment after. Subscribe if you want to subscribe. I'm going to do a watch along tomorrow if I can, providing what the quality's like, because I'm having a bit of a problem with that at the minute. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do that, and yeah, if you want to watch that, then yeah, watch it with me. Cheers.